Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the League One Review Show, episode 18. And it's not been a great season for us Doncaster fans, but it's not a bad season for Milton Keynes Dons fans. So I'm joined today by Jonathan Harris, linked to his Twitter, and is also a contributor to the MKDSA. Links to all those are in the description to this video. Welcome to the show, Jonathan. I hope you are well.
Thank you again for inviting me on, and I'm looking forward to this therapy session for you.
That's what it seems to be going as. Obviously, get your comments in, and we will try and go through those as we go through League One. I've already got an early one from 11:36. Kyle Ellery. I hope he's back in for the show. But yeah, plan today is about half an hour of your time. I know we're on early, but if you enjoy watching this later on in the evening, it will be on the show as a replay later on. But yeah, very busy evening for me this evening. So thank you, Jonathan, for coming on early. But yeah, half an hour or so. It's normally longer than that. We've got 4 games to go through, which were midweek, and then we will cover Saturday's fixtures. So I think a good place to start would be the midweek fixture between MK Dons and Wimbledon. So the floor is all yours, Jonathan.
Well, what can I say? One of the games I really enjoy us winning. Safe to say there's no love lost between the two opposing sides, and there was a cracking atmosphere at Milton Keynes on Tuesday night. A section of the fan base got some flags going, so it really sort of added to the atmosphere. MK Dons came out the dominant selves. AFC Wimbledon gifted us the goal. Great work by Isa in the corner. Passed it back to Twine across the box, passed back out to O'Reilly, and he dropped his shoulder. It was a great finish. AFC Wimbledon then couldn't handle Theo Corberan, and Guinness Walker got sent off for 2 challenges on Corbeanu, who was absolutely sensational. Just the pace, the drive, the awareness, the passing. Sorry to Jake on this, because I know how much he liked Corbeanu. But yeah, we pretty much saw out the second half. We did have chances to extend the lead, but we didn't. AFC could have possibly nicked it at the end with a shot from outside the box that just curled wide. But I think all in all, a 1-0 win, especially when the rivalry is that fierce. I'll take that, and that got us into the playoffs midweek.
Yeah, which is a good position to be in this late on in the season. But like you say, the goal was gifted. Good work down in the bottom corner. But there's still plenty to do, even though the mistake from the keeper. There's still plenty to do for MK Dons to actually finish that chance off. We've got Lizzie in the chat. Afternoon, lads. What am I up to this evening? It's Vicky's birthday next week, so we're off out for a meal. There we go. But yeah, MK Dons dominant, and it put them up into the playoffs midweek. 3 more games midweek. We had Sunderland against Lincoln City, and this one was the Chris Maguire show, some football shithousery.
Oh, that was brilliant.
Is that something that you like to see? I do.
If they do it for us, I don't mind it. If it's an opposition player, like I think yesterday in your video you said Will Keane for some reason decided to try and wind up the Doncaster fans. That's a bit like why, but I can understand why. He's one of these players that absolutely loves getting the crowd hyped up or against him, a bit like Matty Taylor at Doncaster. And of course it was going to be the ex-Sunderland player coming back to haunt them. And yeah, it sort of wound Lee Johnson up to the point where I think he got sent off at the end of the game, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He got sent to the stands. I think he was trying to protect one of his players. He come in, quite a bad challenge, to be fair. I'm surprised there was no retrospective action on that challenge, but one of the Lincoln players has gone for the Sunderland player, and Lee Johnson's kind of stepped in. He's had the hand on the throat, and referees just had enough and sent him to the stands. But yeah, I think Chris Maguire probably started the frustration bubbling with his celebration, and I think I can appreciate it when a manager's kind of written a player off and then he comes back and shows what he can do. I think they're well within the rights to have a go. But you mentioned Keane yesterday. We didn't give him any stick, but then as soon as he scored, he was shushing us. I don't quite understand that, but each to their own. But yeah, a very good result for Lincoln in this one. Got them give them a little bit of breathing space towards the bottom of the table. And when you're down near the bottom four, that's the kind of fight and desire that you need to get out of it. And a very good result for Lincoln at a tough place to go. Moving on to the Bolton against Wycombe game. So the best team in the league not having a good time of it at the minute. They've been dragged down towards the bottom four since the manager said that they were the best team in League One. They were doing very well until that point. But Wycombe, a decent outfit, and just did a very Wycombe performance, in all fairness. They just kind of...
Absolutely.
Yeah, they just plug along. I'd say they're going under the radar, but they're not. They are getting people to sit up and take notice, but they're just going about the business fairly quietly, but doing it very well.
It's no thrills. It's similar to Rotherham when they had that unbeaten run. No one was really talking about Rotherham, I felt, when they went like, was it 21 games unbeaten? And Wycombe are one of these sides that just seem to get the job done without minimal fuss. And I know a lot of people were tipping them for automatics, and they've obviously had their COVID issues as well, and still managed to play their games. And I think after this, did they announce one of their fans had sadly passed away as well? I think.
Not sure.
There was this lady called, I can't remember if it's Lana or something like that, but they dedicated yesterday's win to her. So I know it was in between that. So
it's a shame. But Jack Grimmer's goal in this one was a superb curling effort to seal the victory. As we say, Wycombe going about the business fairly quietly and doing it very, very well. And then a massive result for Crewe midweek, a team who were in and around Doncaster Rovers. And this was a result that we didn't want to see. A 2-1 victory over Charlton, who have got a renewed vigour about them under Jackson. But a fairly even game. But Crewe edge it and just pull themselves a little bit further away from Doncaster.
Absolutely. I mean, as you say, it's the worst news for Doncaster, but absolutely fair play to Crewe. They seem to have got a bit of momentum going. Their home form's improving, which has always been their strong point. As for Charlton, I think, is this the game that they were unlucky to not get a last-minute equaliser for an offside or something? Or
I believe it was,
highlights.
It wasn't in the highlights that I watched, but I remember Tyler mentioning something, but I can't remember if it was this game midweek or if it was the one. The equalised, the drew yesterday. So yeah, I'm guessing it's this one. It's been a very busy week. But yeah, fantastic result for Crewe, which has helped their position towards the bottom end of the table. And that moves us on to the weekend's fixtures, yesterday's fixtures. Yeah, Lizzie, nail on the head. Every team around us is winning. I think the two results against Morecambe and Fleetwood have killed our season. There's still, as I said to you yesterday, Jonathan, there's 63 points to play for. So stranger things have happened, but I think those two results for me have kind of extinguished any sort of hope of surviving. But I don't know. We'll get on to Doncaster in a little bit. But first, Cheltenham against Charlton. Cheltenham, a team who have just been doing the business and doing what they need to do to stay in this league. I thought they'd be struggling towards the bottom end of the table, but I don't know. It's working for them, isn't it?
It is. They've just carried on the momentum from League Two. To be honest, you know what you're going to get with Cheltenham, and they're no messing about. They're getting your faces, and it's quite ironic that the guy who scored for Cheltenham was deemed surplus to requirements on loan at Lincoln, and he goes to Cheltenham, and I believe that was his debut, and he goes and scores.
Sorry, Jonathan, I just ended up cutting out there, so I missed everything that you said. I'm sure it was good.
Do you want me to repeat it, or?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I just think Cheltenham are just one of these sides that they just know how they want to play. They don't deviate from that. You can either handle it or you can't. They've got Alfie May, obviously, who's a little annoying striker up top. I think there's rumours that he could be moving on. But Dan and Lunderloo, I know a lot of Lincoln fans were a bit sort of underwhelmed by him. And it's just quite ironic that he started for Cheltenham yesterday and then went and scored. And then Chuck Sanike going back to Charlton and doing what he does for Charlton. I found that a bit of a weird move, him coming down from the Championship. But if it's going to benefit Charlton, then happy days.
Yeah, definitely. And late equaliser always feels like a winner, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I think Tyler will be fairly happy with that one. And that late equaliser stopped a little bit of a rot for Charlton. I think there were 2 or 3 games, 3 games straight defeats. So that equaliser just stopped that rot a little bit. Hopefully I don't lose signal again. But we will move on to Wycombe against Oxford. As we said, Wycombe just doing what Wycombe do best. Not really dominating a game, but the chances that they have, they're very clinical with it. Oxford started really brightly in this one, but Wycombe have got that ability to weather a storm. And then, like we said, they've just got that knack of getting results and grinding out performances.
Absolutely. I mean, I know their home form. I think their home form's picked up. I think they had a few dodgy results at home before Christmas, but around sort of November, December time. But you know, when you go to Adams Park, you're going to have to fight. You're going to have to battle. It's a hostile atmosphere. It almost like Cheltenham. You know what you're going to get with Wycombe. It's going to be long balls into the final third and play from there. I think they've done well to recruit someone like Gareth McCleary. I think he's added a different dimension to their play, and it's nice to see Brandon Hanlon getting a run of goals. I think that was 2 in 2 for him, and all I'd like to say is that I think there were reports of some homophobic chanting from a section of the fan base. Don't know if it was Wycombe or Oxford, but that's not called for in this game.
No, we do not condone any sort of chants, racial, homophobic, you name it. For me, football is for absolutely everybody, and no one should feel like they're not welcome at a football ground, regardless of race, age, religion, creed, you name it. Everybody should be made to feel welcome at any football club. So yeah, definitely don't condone that on this channel. Moving on to Bolton against Ipswich. So this is a good result for Bolton. As we said, they've been dragged into it a little bit down at the bottom of the table. And Ipswich, hit and miss for them this season. I expected them to be running away with it, and it just didn't quite happen from the start of the season. We were saying about the team gelling. There was a lot of players brought in, but it seems to have just been a very stuttering, stop-start kind of season. Probably Ipswich one to watch next season, do you think?
I still, believe it or not, this might sound mad, I still wouldn't rule them out of a playoff run. I mean, I think this is McKenna's first defeat since he's taken over. They have obviously gone to Gillingham and scored 4. They beat Wycombe as well, which isn't a bad result. No. I just think it was one of those games where it just seemed like it wasn't happening. The second goal for Afolayan was put on a plate for him, to be honest, defensively.
Yeah, couldn't miss really, could he?
No, and I just think it's a little blip. I wouldn't be surprised if they were there or thereabouts come the playoffs at the end of the season.
Do you think they're strong enough to go through the playoffs though, with the caliber of team that are in there at the minute?
If you've got Macaulay Bonne and James Norwood in your side, anything's possible, in my opinion.
Yeah, you've always got that chance, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, lovely football for the first goal, to lead up to the goal. And Bolton looked a half decent team from what I saw, but based on the stats, they just used the little of the ball that they had very well.
Yep. Premier League in 5 years, apparently, after this game. That's what he said. That's his new quote.
Wow. We've got Amadeus in the chat. Crazy league with some results lately. Yes, it is. We will get on to one of the crazier results, in my opinion, shortly. But first, bit of a bore draw. Crewe 0, Shrewsbury 0, and a result that did neither team much use, really.
No, I think if anything, it just keeps the momentum going for both sides. Shrewsbury, just as you say, they're starting to pull away from the relegation zone. I think both their weaknesses are going to be they're going to have enough goals to survive. I I think Danadillo's stepped up for Shrewsbury this season. I'm not quite sure where the goals are going to come from if Mandron doesn't score for Crewe. But I think both would just take survival at the end of the season.
And I think this is one of those games where you probably look at it at the table and think, we don't really want to be losing this, because you've got Shrewsbury who could get dragged into it, or if Crewe lose it, they're losing more ground on the teams above them. So probably a little bit of hesitancy within the two teams, not wanting to push too much to go and win the game, but having that kind of niggling doubt that you don't want to lose it as well. And I think it's just kind of petered out to a 0-0 draw. Moving on to one of the bigger results of the weekend, a bit of a shock result, this one. Sheffield Wednesday 4, Plymouth 2. So Jake can't be with us because he's doing an annual video with Dexterity, so I'll be watching out for that. But I bet it's good that he's not on the show to talk about this. Fantastic result for them, something that wasn't expected. But look at those stats: 22 shots, 7 on target, compared to Plymouth's 3 with 2 on target. Clinical for Plymouth, but Sheff Wednesday absolutely dominated.
Absolutely, and I think what I gathered from the forums and what from people were tweeting last night, it seemed like Sheffield Wednesday were pressing higher, they were wanting it more, there was more urgency, and I think that's what they've been crying out for, to be honest. Special mention to Mendes Lang, who's come back in, and that was a real good goal I thought. Silaso, he's not started for a while, he comes in, gets a goal. And Josh Windass, well, what can you say about that goal, Dan? That was an absolutely brilliant touch, take, turn, and finish.
Yeah,
that's, I say, he's a cheat code in League One, I think, Josh Windass.
Definitely. I think the timing of that goal as well, with Plymouth bringing a goal back on the 83rd minute. Potentially Sheff Wednesday fans are thinking, here we go again, it's going to be another draw. We've dominated and then pegged back so late on. And then to instantly get that 2-goal cushion back with a lovely strike, I think it's something that has settled the nerves for the last 6 minutes. But like I say, Windass, very, very good player, bit of a cheat code for League One. And for me, that shows what Darren Moore is capable of. I mean, he made a lot of changes in this game. We've seen it at Donny, where sometimes it just clicks and you get a really good performance, but then I kind of expect it to die off pretty quickly and kind of revert back to the norm. So watch this space, Wednesday fans. On to our game, Doncaster against Wigan. Wigan, a very, very good team. They put us under quite a bit of pressure for the first 15, 20 minutes. I think we could have been 2 or 3 goals down. But what I will say is the fight, the grit, the determination that I saw from the whole squad was promising. It was a bit more positive. I came away from the game actually thinking, if we play like that for the rest of the season, we'll get more positive results than negative. Do I think we'll get enough to stay up? No, I think we're cut too far adrift from those 2 games against Morecambe and Fleetwood. But stranger things have happened. I just want to see us put that level of effort and fight and heart into every single game. And if we lose, we lose. And you can't really ask for much more. What I will say is, this season we've not seen enough of that this season. Amadeus coming in on the radio, it sounded like Donny actually fought back. We did. I think we put Wigan on the back foot, and to put a team as good as Wigan on the back foot, you need to recognise that and applaud it where we can. But maybe it's just a little bit too little, too late. We will see on Tuesday night against Cambridge if we carry that on. I think the addition of Agard is a very good addition. We need that experience. I mean, Jonathan Agard played at MK Dons. What's your thoughts on him?
If nothing else, he'll give you 110% effort. I know some of our fan base were sometimes his first touch can be a bit iffy, and it just feels like he sometimes takes too long to take a shot. But if it's effort, desire, and commitment you want, then Agard's definitely your man. I imagine his sort of presence in the dressing rooms maybe said to them in the second half, look, we might be a goal down, but we're still in this. Let's just keep going. As you say, Wigan are a very, very good side. I think they've got 4 games in hand or something, 4 or 5 games
5.
in hand.
5.
And I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because as they were saying on the highlight show this morning, that means a lot of Tuesday, Saturday games between now and the end of the season. I mean, I think they said that there's 2 still not being rearranged. So for me, if they get automatic promotion, then I think they've done really well, especially with the schedule they've got coming up as well. And as you say, I think they've added as well. I mean, they've added Josh McGuinness. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And
it seems a little unfair, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, I can understand why. Obviously, Charlie White, we don't know when he's going to be back, and we wish him well. But as you say, strike force with like McGuinness, and they've still got Humphreys and Will Keane and players like that. Their squad is just championship quality.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I mean, I don't know if you've seen about Towelgate knocking around on Twitter and things. It was a very strange one. I don't mind players using a towel to dry the ball for the one throw. I think the issue was that the amount of time it was taking, it was gradually taking longer and longer to dry a football, and it got frustrating. But the best part for me was one of our members of staff went and took the towel, then they got told off, the towel got put back, and then Lizzie never laughed more than I did at Towelgate. But the bit that just did me, one of our fans ran down from kind of halfway up the stadium, ran down, jumped over the fence, took the towel, and I mean, that just shows our season when one of the highlights is a fan nicking a towel.
Oh, brilliant. Both teams had to agree to use that towel, because I read somewhere that they hadn't agreed to use that towel for. I don't know if it was just a rumor or whether both teams had to agree to use a towel.
Gary McSheffield's said that there was an agreement about both teams using towels when they exchanged team sheets, but he wasn't aware of it. And yeah, it just seemed, I wouldn't say it was borderline cheating. I don't know. It's a strange one, which for me took away from positive performance that we saw. It wasn't a result that we wanted, but promising signs on the performance. And who knows? Stranger things have happened. Will we get out of it? I doubt it. Moving on to another shock result for me this weekend was Fleetwood 1, Rotherham 0, and it was a very late winner. But Rotherham dominated, just couldn't get it over the line.
Absolutely. But I think that credit to Fleetwood this week. They've made some real good defensive signings. They've signed Toto Enciala from Ipswich, which I think is going to help them going forward, like defensively. They're always going to be a danger when Danny Andrews over a free kick. I mean, I think he was over the free kick for the goal. There's no way Paul Warne will like that sort of goal, because that just looks a bit Route 1 and a bit basic. But I don't know. Rotherham gone for a little bit of a patch. I mean, I don't like to say it because obviously Ian always watches this, but are they?
They're kind of a little bit hit and miss at the minute, but I think they've got more than enough in the tank to turn this little blip around and finish at least playoffs. But I'd say they're top 2 this season for me. But yeah, disappointing result for them. Fleetwood doing the double over Rotherham. On to Lincoln against Cambridge. So Joe Ironside, another late goal. So many late goals this weekend for winners or equalisers. And Joe Ironside, he scored against Newcastle. He sent Cambridge through in the FA Cup. And then he gets a vital 3 points towards the bottom end of the table against a struggling Lincoln in a fairly even game that's just edged by a little bit of quality.
Absolutely. I mean, I think first of all we've got to give credit to Cambridge keeper Dimitar Mitov. He had a worldie at St James's Park the other Saturday, and now he's gone to Lincoln. And there was a save in the first half from Cullen. There was a diving header he had no right to get to, and he made a fantastic point blank save. I don't think that this means that Lincoln's season is back to where it was. I just think it was a blip. It's one of them games where they seem to dominate, as you can see, dominated possession, dominated shots on target. It was just one of them games where Mitov was just unbeatable, and
on any other given day against any other keeper, there'd have probably been 4 or 5-0 up.
Absolutely.
So yeah, nothing to worry about for Lincoln. Just hope that you never come up against me, Tov, again. On to another 0-0 draw from this weekend, Wimbledon against Morecambe, and it's another one where it's probably two teams that are looking at this game and not wanting to lose it. Wimbledon look like they've forced it a little bit more with 15 shots and 3 on target compared to Morecambe's 7 and 1. But we've said it so many times on this show that if Stockton doesn't score or doesn't have a particularly good game, then Morecambe struggle to get anything out of it. And similar in this one for me.
Absolutely. I think Wimbledon are just suffering from a lack of cutting edge. They obviously haven't got Joe Pigott because he's gone to Ipswich. I think they're really missing someone like Pigott who could grab them a goal in this sort of game.
Yeah.
And as for Morecambe, I think Cole Stockton just needs a bit more support from the players around him, because if, God forbid, if Cole moves or he gets injured, I mean, that's when you start to worry for Morecambe. But I know they've got a tough week next week. They've got 2 home games, but it's Wigan and Wycombe. I mean, how that could, I know.
You don't want that.
So this point might not be too bad in the context, but maybe this is one they could have done with just winning, just to maybe give them a bit more of a gap.
Yeah, and to give them that kind of safety net when you've got fixtures like that coming up. I mean, we've got a run of, I think it was 10 games and 7 out of the top 10 were coming up before we played Morecambe and Fleetwood. So I looked at them 2 games thinking they're the 2 where we need to be getting the points. So this is a similar game to that, where you're looking thinking, where are we going to get points from over the next couple of weeks? Probably this one, and then to come out with a 0-0 draw, probably disappointing in both camps.
Yeah.
And I will leave this one down to you, Jonathan. Talk to us about Portsmouth 1, MK Dons.
Well, it looks on paper like Portsmouth should have won this with the shots and the shots on target and that, but it was a real good display. I mean, we soaked up the first 20 minutes. You know what it's like at Fratton Park with that atmosphere. They did have chances. They tested our new lone keeper, Jamie Cumming. Got him from Chelsea. He had a real good half season with struggling Gillingham side. And we hit him on the counter. Great pass through by Matt O'Reilly to Mo Isa, 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. And you just never doubt Mo 1-on-1, really. And then 1 became 2 just before half time with an absolutely, I really don't know what to say about him. I mean, if Jake was here, I think Jake would be waxing lyrical, because he messaged me after this saying it was a fantastic hit, and that was before I'd even seen it. So I don't know, these 2 signings, I think Cumming is a real good replacement for Fisher. Obviously, I think we needed a goalkeeper that played sort of similar, because our style's very unique in League One, and Corbin sort of brings a bit more directness to our attacking. It seems like we're a bit more threatening. We seem to be a bit predictable sort of before Christmas with Isa and Twine. You sort of keep Twine quiet, then nothing really happens. But we soaked up a lot of pressure in the second half and countered. George Hurst actually scored, which again Ian will be happy about, because it's his favourite striker ever. We just hit them on the counter. We were lucky not to get a third. Great double save by Bazunu from I think it was Twine and then Boateng, and then Parrott decided to dance through, and his shot was deflected. But that's MK Don's first ever win at Fratton Park. So to get that against a promotion rival, I'm really pleased about that.
Yeah, definitely. Like you say, having Theo now gives you another dimension to your play. People will be focusing on Twiney, and now they've got another problem in Theo to watch out for. And I think MK Don's playing him in his actual position. Chef Wednesday with square pegs in round holes. We've seen that before with Darren Moore. We've got Amadeus here again as an owl. It's bittersweet to see Hurst and Corbin scoring. Glad for them, but wish it had been for us. Yeah, if you've been watching this show since the start of the season, it's pretty regular where I'm complaining about an ex-Rovers player scoring in League One. We've not had it for a few weeks, so it'll come. But yeah, wonderful strike in off the bar. If you've not seen it yet, find the highlights and watch that goal, because it's I'd say it's a goal of the season contender for sure.
They always look better when they come off the bar, don't they?
Especially when they bounce back up and hit the roof of the net as well. I do like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, good result for MK Dons at Fratton Park. 2 games left to go for this episode, and it's Accrington Stanley 1, Sunderland 1. Deflected shot from Aidan O'Brien put Sunderland in front. Red card for Sykes. Would you agree that it was? I think,
was it a straight red or was it 2 yellows?
I think it was 2 yellows.
I didn't see the first challenge. I only saw like the second one that they showed on the highlights. His foot did look a bit high, but the defending for the Accrington equaliser, I don't know if you've seen it. Oh my days! I mean, if Sunderland are thinking automatic promotion, they're going to have to defend much better than that against 10 men. Credit to Accrington, they're always strong at home. If you get a result at Accrington, it's always hard fought, but the defending, and especially to let a former Newcastle player score against Sunderland and then do the Alan Shearer celebration as well. I mean, that's just going to hurt twice as much.
Yeah, it's rubbing salt in the wounds, isn't it? But I think you've mentioned it, the defending. I don't quite understand why Sunderland have pushed so many people up so late on in the game. We talk about it in League One so much that the game management, some teams have got it, some teams haven't. Wigan had it with the towel, drying the football and time wasting and just managing the game. For me, something like that it's inexcusable. You've got a corner, you're just not set up correctly, and I think Lee Johnson will be very disappointed with the way that they conceded there. But like you say, Accrington, tough place to go and get any sort of result from. So yeah,
I think it's going to be results like that cost them automatics, to be honest, because no offence to Accrington, but a team like Sunderland should be going there and getting a result. I mean, I think Wigan went there and got a result. I think Rotherham lost there, didn't they? I think. But the big teams always go there and get a result. It's about getting these results against these mid-table sides.
And then the final game of the weekend, Gillingham going 1-up very, very early on. Got rid of Steve Evans after the last game, and I'm sat at the Rovers game, see that it's gone to 1-0. I'm just thinking teams around us are just starting to pick up. I think we're done for. And then the second half, Burton, who very rarely score away from home, absolute run riot and score 3. So a game of 2 halves.
Absolutely. I mean, I follow Matt from Gills in the Blood, and his YouTube video was a game of 2 halves. I mean, it sounded like that they were up for it. They got the early goal. They had chances, and I don't know if maybe Hasselbank maybe tweaked it at half time, but it's very unusual to see Burton score 3 goals away from home. As you say, they really struggle, and if anything, that's probably, I don't know. Do you think that's possibly a nail in Gillingham's relegation, or is there still hope, you think?
I think there's still hope for all 4 teams down there at the minute, especially us, Gillingham and Crewe. But I'd say us and Gillingham are pretty much staring League 2 in the face without a miracle for me. That's my thoughts on the situation at the minute. And then to finish the video off, we will finish with the table. So talking about the bottom 4, I mean, Crewe, 22 points. They're only 4 points away from Wimbledon. It is very tight towards the kind of from 22nd up to 14th, really. There's one run of fixtures, a run of results, and the whole kind of table can change. I just think 18 and 16 points for us and Gillingham, I think we're too far adrift now, and it's going to take a big effort for either one of us to get out of that bottom 4. We need to win 4 games and hope that all of these teams above us lose those 4 games as well. And in a division like this, everybody's beating everybody. Apart from Doncaster, we're not beating anybody. Is there anybody down there who you think shouldn't be down there? at this stage of the season? I mean, the table doesn't lie, does it?
No, I'd say Lincoln are slightly down from what I'd expect. I've seen some of their performance recently. I mean, when we went to Lincoln on on Boxing Day, they were 2-0 up within 8 minutes and looked like all the world, like they were going to secure a vital win. But for some reason, they just collapsed in the second half. But I think with Michael Appleton, he's going to sign well in January. He already has signed well. I think he's got 2 more strikers. Only thing I'd say about them is that they've lost Lewis Montsmouth to an ACL injury, so I don't know how crucial that will be defensively. Possibly Bolton, because obviously Bolton should be winning the league by 60-odd points by now. But yeah, I'd say the table's pretty much how I'd expect it, possibly.
I'd say Charlton are a little bit of a surprise for me with the team that they had, but just the start under Atkins wasn't great, and I had us as a mid-table team, but we've been very poor this season. There's not much more I can say other than we've been shocking. And then a bit more positive reading for yourself, Jonathan. MK Dons sat neatly in the playoffs. Plymouth hit a bit of a rough patch after starting very, very strongly. But yeah, for me, I'd say Sheff Wednesday, Pompey, and Ipswich are the teams that I'd expect a little bit higher in the table. But yeah, do you think you'll still be there come the end of the season? I mean, you've played 26 games, teams around, you've got games in hand. Are you doing enough to be in that mix come the end of the season?
I'd be happy with playoffs. I've always said playoffs is a real good season for us, considering where we were last season. We were never even close, even though we went on a run towards the back end of the season. Obviously, what happened at the start of the season with our manager departing for Wales wasn't ideal, but somehow we've still managed to churn out performances and results. We've got some massive away games coming up between now and the end of the season. We've got Wycombe at the end of the month. We've got Rotherham and Sunderland next month. We've got Wigan in March as well. We've got Plymouth the last game of the season, so that could be huge.
That could be decided for that final place.
Yeah, and we still got to play Oxford. We still got to play Sheffield Wednesday as well. So I'm enjoying the position that we're in. I'm enjoying the fact that we're unbeaten so far in 2022. But for me, it's all about the next game and knowing our luck, because we always struggle against the bottom sides. Knowing our luck, Doncaster are going to get a win at Stadium MK, which will make you happy. But again, who knows in League One?
Yeah, exactly. It would make me happy because I'd like a win on Tuesday. I'd love a win on Saturday. We just need points. I'll take them wherever we'll get them. But that brings us to the end of episode 18 of the League One review. Thank you, Jonathan, for joining me. You will hopefully see Jonathan in the preview for MK Dons. We'll try and get something together midweek, so that'll be out on Thursday. But yeah, in the meantime, please go ahead, follow him on Twitter and have a look at the MKDSA links are in the description down below. Thank you for being on. I hope you've enjoyed being on again, Jonathan.
You're very welcome. Just glad someone could step in for Jake at such short notice and look forward to next week. It depends what the results like. But yeah, thanks again, Dan.
Yeah. So thank you very much. If you've enjoyed it, stick a big thumbs up on it for us, please. Comments in the section down below if you're watching the repeat. Subscribe to me if you haven't already. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.